Tour Junkies.
What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to the Waste Management Phoenix Open 2025 betting show. DB here. I got my boy Pat Perry with me, breaking down the waste management for our 10th year. Holy moly, the madness of the waste management is once again upon us, and I'm excited. Patrick, how are we doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic, DB, and ready for the waste management. It's always a great week. And look, I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way right now. You probably wanted to talk about this later. But last year, this was Antarctica. We were in Antarctica, and that's all there was to it. I mean, I'm not exaggerating at all. It basically was Antarctica. And this year, of course, we were there when it was Antarctica, and this year it's not. It's perfect.
Nope. I know it pissed.
Absolutely gorgeous.
First thing I looked at this morning, and it pissed me off so bad. It's going to be perfect. We were out there sludging it around with the penguins at the waste management last year. It was freaking miserable. And then I looked at the score from last year, and I'm like, how in the fresh hell did Nick Taylor get to 21 under last year?
Yeah,
that is wild. It was so cold and a little windy and just rainy and miserable. And it was the only year out of 10 years we've been doing this, we went to that tournament, and that's what we got. We got to run it back at some point.
We do. But you know,
I got this hat at our Dobson Ranch. Great little muni course out there in Scottsdale area. Love that place. Shout out to our friends that met us there and had some good times playing golf last year. But yeah, it's a big
this hoodie.
There you go.
You know why? Because what I was
freezing.
wearing was so wet and freezing cold that I had to go buy it.
Yes. Yeah, it was miserable. We got a great show coming up today. We've got Matt Every joining us here in just a second. He is going to be live at TPC Scottsdale all this week doing the betting broadcast feed for ESPN Plus and PGA Tour Live. Going to get his insights on the golf course. Obviously, he's played the course a bunch of times and knows what's going on at TPC Scottsdale as good as anyone. And we're going to do a little broadcast bingo. We're going to play a little fun game, give our things on what to look out for, because this is the time of year everybody starts watching a little more golf, because there's one football game left. It's the big one. The Super Bowl is Sunday night, and everybody's prepared to be in front of their couch all weekend. They happen to turn on a little waste management on Saturday. They get into it. The juices are flowing. It's wild. The scene at 16 is nuts. And then Sunday afternoon, they want to do the same thing. They want to watch it leading up to the Super Bowl. It usually ends right before the festivities and the kickoff really get going at the Super Bowl. So it's a great week. We got a lot of people tuning in for the first time this year. Matt is joining us every single week, bringing a ton of good insight, betting insight, all that good stuff. We're going to hear from him. We're going to do our broadcast bingo. And, we're going to obviously talk about our favorite bets, outrights, some top 20s, little DFS chatter, and it's going to be a fun show. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I got to continue patting ourselves on the back, because we continue to crush it on SoBet. I know I say this every week. I'm a broken record, but we're now 8-0 in matchups on SoBet. It was another sweep week. And, Pat, earlier in the year, you kind of made fun of me. You made fun of me on our SoBet Greek text.
I don't know if yeah.
Yeah, you did. You were like, 1 unit. But I said, we're building brick by brick, baby. Brick by brick. We are adding units. And you know what's also nice? Not losing. Losing is fun. You know what I mean? Like, sure, we had this, we had a Sepp Straka sweat yet again this week. He could have done it. That would have been awesome. It would have been a 60-1 hit. Would have been another 10 units. But you know what? Of the 1.5 units I spent on my outright card, I didn't have to worry about it if he didn't close the door, because I made it up and then some between the round robin that more than doubled up. Gave that one to the Discord as well as SoBet. Won another almost 3/4 units, a little better than a wash, but profited about 3/4 of a units in some placement bets. That was in the Discord. Won 1/2 unit in the prize picks round 1. That was in the Discord. And then the 2 matchups netted me 2 units as well. So it was just a nice, profitable week, casual week that could have been big had Sepp closed the door, but it was we're still in the green, and we're up 13, 14 units on SoBet. So you got to click on SoBet. You got to click on the link in our description of the podcast and the YouTube video. If you click that link, it'll take you to a landing page. TJ 2025 will get you the first month for $1. That's TJ 2025 gets you the first month for a singular US dollar. And then I think it's $15 or 60 something cents a day after that. It's very, very cheap, very reasonable, great value, and you can cancel at any time, but you're not going to want to because they're cooking for the Super Bowl. They're cooking for NBA. Major League Baseball is always hot in there. Any sport you can think of that you can bet on, they've got a vetted, seasoned handicapper in there, dishing out plays exclusively on SoBet, including us for golf every single week. So check it out. Join us. Engage with us over there on SoBet. And yeah, the Discord popping too. Did you do your show this morning, Pat?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
nice. I had an 11 a.m. Real work meeting. Or maybe it's 10:30. So I had to move it to noon. So we did a lunch hour, early look special. So I'm interested because I haven't looked at the updated numbers to see some of these folks that where they may have shortened if they have
you crash some numbies after dishing out some plays in the Discord.
I got a few that I crashed. So
okay. Well, before Matt gets in here, I do want to say we've got to talk about Ireland because it's rapidly approaching. Ireland, our Tour Junkies Ireland group trip is coming in July, the week after the Open Championship. You are going to want to be there, I assure you. Look at what all it includes. It includes your hotel. We're going to be at a couple different hotels, 4 nights, one place, 2 nights, another place, July 20th through the 27th. 5 rounds of golf, including 3 in the top. 5 in the top 30, 2 in the top 10. They're near Dublin. It includes a nice group dinner, a group lunch, some prizes, a welcome pack. We're obviously going to play with everybody that joins the trip. All your transfers are included. There's a Guinness tour and a Jameson whiskey experience that we're all going to get to enjoy. All of that is included. The only thing not included, your caddy fees, your tips for your caddies, your flights, and meals that are not already listed. You can see the prices here, available packages. You can do it where you share a room, you can get a single room, and even bring somebody if you want to that's not a golfer, and they can take advantage as well. So if you have a relative, a family member, a brother, a sibling, a dad, a wife, a girlfriend, a mistress, whatever, bring them with you and enjoy Ireland with us. You will not regret it. The pictures of these golf courses are beautiful, just absolutely stunning courses right here on the coast of, I believe, Eastern Ireland. And it's going to be great right after the Open Championship. We would love for you to join us, but here's the deal. You got to be signed up, and I think you at least have to have your deposit down. I can't remember if it's the full payment, but you got to have something down by April. So right around tax time, we talked about that last week. Get in there, get involved. Space is very limited. We're not going with a big group of people here. So get involved, get with it. Join us on Ireland, our very first international Tour Junkies golf trip open to the public, and we would love for as many followers as possible to get in here and get it done. It's going to be a really good time. So anything else you would add to that, Pat? Look at this fine Irishman serving a nice Irish whiskey there.
That's amazing. That picture you had of the pub, I want to make sure we go into that pub. We're going to go into a lot of pubs. And
dude, is that Augusta National in Ireland? Look at that place.
Yeah, what the hell?
Looks fantastic. I mean, a Guinness in Ireland, after a round of golf, like that is literally worth the entire price of the trip. You know what I mean?
There would be nothing better. I agree. Yeah. It's going to be a great trip, and it's put together well. There's a lot of things. I don't know. I think it's going to be special. So got to get in on it though.
Yeah. Got to get involved. Click the link in the description. All your details are there. You book through that site. Thank you to my golf group travel for setting that up. Fantastic place, fantastic people, really good trip. Pumped about what's going down there. Okay. Anything else to get out of the way? We're gonna have Matt join us here in just a second. Pat, do you want to? Are we gonna do? I guess we're gonna do some Super Bowl props to this on this show. Do you have any? You have some Super Bowl props. We're gonna go over those with Matt.
I do have a few. I saw a different one I had not seen before, so I'm going to talk about that one a little bit.
Any other takeaways from Pebble? I mean, Rory gets it done. You know, Sepp just couldn't. Sepp had problems with the beginning of that back nine over the weekend, and then just kind of fizzled there on his way to like a T7 finish. We were rooting for that to happen. But any other thoughts on Pebble? I mean, I definitely enjoyed the tournament. I wish Sepp would have won, but I did enjoy watching it. Looked great. And, you know, I don't mind Pebble. And the field was nice. The field was strong. It was good to see some guys there that aren't always there. But it was nice, I guess. I mean, Rory doing Rory things was fine. Just hurt that it was Sepp.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good tournament. I think it's always beautiful there. We got a little weather that came in on Saturday that kind of was interesting to see. I was a little curious, DB, of where Rory is now for you on the scale of alphaness and beta-ness. Because I think you tipped it a little bit. I think there was some, there was some beta that went down a little bit and some alpha that came up. I think that you got to admit that. Now, does it carry itself into the big tournaments we got coming up with the Masters and whatever else? I don't know. But right now, Alpha Rory is out. He's outweighing Beta Rory, in my opinion, right now.
I mean,
he alphaed that tournament on the back nine. He alphaed that tournament.
Yeah, he did. I mean, at this point, I mean, this. We talked about it last year. Like, Rory has also said some things in the media and in public that I definitely wish he would have said years ago. He started to say them last year, and I think he was right on those. And I think it took some guts to say them, considering the position that he's in and a lot of these, these very intertwined golf worlds that are all out there that he's involved in. So I think he earned a little bit of beta or earned a little bit of alpha last year doing some of that. And I almost think at this point, I mean, I've seen the alpha on the golf course. I really have, except for Augusta National and potentially other majors. So I don't really know that I could bump him up or down in terms of golf course alpha or beta-ness at any point, unless it was Augusta National or the major.
Pinehurst and the U.S. Open he's still got a lot to recover from there. So.
Yeah, but I mean, winning a regular PGA Tour event, I get it's Pebble, I get it's a elevated event, whatever, still 80 guys, no cut. It's a big deal, but it doesn't really move him up or down the scale to me over the body of his career, right? I mean, he's just got such an awesome career, but yeah. I mean, I'm in on Rory right now. I'm in. I'm not saying I think he's going to win the Masters, but I'm in on him overall.
Okay. All right. Good.
It appears our friend Matt Every has entered the chat here. We're going to bring up Matt. He is coming at us live. How's it going, Matt Every?
What's up, boys? It's going great.
Are you in the normal setup, or are you traveling already?
No. I'm at the house. We're quick change. Picked up the kids from school, and we got baseball practice in 20 minutes.
Well, we're excited you're going to be on coverage this week. We already kind of talked about it a little bit. We talked about it last week, obviously, on the betting feed for the Waste Management. What days will that be? What days are you on the call? Is that all 4 days?
Yeah, so Thursday, Friday, 2 to 4 East Coast, and then I believe 11 to 1 East Coast, Saturday, Sunday. So, yeah, 2-hour shows all 4 days. It'll be 2 hours of fun. It's going to be great, man. I'm really excited.
On site for these shows?
No, I'm not on site. So we have –
the studios.
We have one guy on site, and then I'm in the studios with Jonathan Coachman.
Okay,
nice. That's right. I forgot about that. Awesome. We are looking forward to that. We're gonna you've promised that you're gonna work in Sneaky Link, so we know that's coming. That layup is coming. All right, talk to us about TPC Scottsdale. Your thoughts on the golf course. Your thoughts on how it'll play this week. Your experiences on that course. While you do, I'm going to throw up a little bit of bet the numbers course info over the last 5 years, but tell us what you think.
I mean, it's a blast to play as a player. If you're playing good, you're going to excel there. I think irons are important here, and then putting as well. It's we saw it last year. Nick Taylor kind of running the table on the way in from 10 to 12 feet. It just feels like one of those places where if, let's say there's 140 guys in the field, say 40 of them are really playing well that week. Those 40 guys are going to be having 10 to 15 footers, it feels like, on every hole out there, unless there's some kind of the wind picks up, which isn't really normal there. It doesn't, I don't feel like it blows a ton there. The mornings can be really cold. I don't know if this does anything, but I hated having a really early time on Thursday or Friday. There was almost always a frost delay. And then even when the delay was over, if there was a front pin on, 10, 11, or 12 or 1, 2, or 3, the greens played like they were still frozen. I mean, you would get these head to double head high bounces. So overall, it's a great week. I think they've toned down the fun a little bit for the players since when I first used to go there. My boy's in here, so I can't talk too much about that event, but it's up there. It's a blast.
Yeah.
Good.
What
Yeah.
how do you figure Nick Taylor shot 21 under at this place last year when it was so dang cold, rainy, windy? I mean, I guess was it just the softer conditions? Because obviously, Pat and I've already talked about it. The conditions this week look perfect. I mean, other than a little chilly in the morning.
I don't know. Canadian. Maybe he's used to the cold.
Yeah.
Your guess is as good as mine. He's good at golf.
Awesome. That's tremendous analysis there.
I mean, I don't know where you want me to go with that.
I just don't understand it. We were there and it was so miserable.
I just think Nick Taylor is one of those guys where if he's found something in his game and he's near the leaderboard, it's like, I'm going to take that guy in a one-on-one situation, which, late in the game, sometimes it becomes that. I'm going to take a guy like Nick Taylor every time. Because he's playing good enough to be there. I know he's got the stones to handle this situation. I think too, from what I remember, when they, from being out there, they just stopped play totally for long periods of time, and then it would be a little bit sunny, and he got obviously very soft conditions too, which maybe it was miserably cold and rainy for a lot of the time we were out there at the tournament, but there certainly were some good scoring conditions to be able to, with the soft, the rain and everything else out there. So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pull the club back, but it was impressive nonetheless. What are you have you had a chance to look at the BTN custom model? Your thoughts on like those approach buckets, your thoughts on like there's not a ton of rough here.
No. And it's not, there's a couple, look, you're talking to a guy who I sweated some tee shots on the PGA Tour. I don't think I was a bad driver of the golf ball, but the uncomfortable ones got my attention. And there's probably like two or three out here that are uncomfortable. The rest you can get it. It's not the most, intimidating course off of the tee, put it that way, especially if you're carrying it 300 plus.
Yeah. So you think it's kind of suits up more towards, again, like that heavy hitter, that bomber. And also like, I feel like when you look at the past winners here, it's at least in the last 10 years, like it's some legit guys with,
they get
a lot of major winners.
Yep. And it feels like the same names kind of reappear on this leaderboard every year as well.
Do you see the surfaces? Like they always label the surfaces, whatever, like this one's POA now. I think they changed it. What does it actually putt like? Or is it pretty pure?
Oh, they said TPC Scottsdale's POA?
No, they changed it this year. Now the GCSAA has it listed as a POA blend or something like that. It has been like a Bermuda with POA mix, but I think they changed it.
Are you sure? I feel like it does not, well, if it is POA, it's not anywhere near the POA.
Right. That's why I ask.
In California, it plays way more like just an overseed surface.
So they have it labeled as POA bent rye overseed.
That's what it plays like. The dominant blade there is the rye overseed, I would say.
Gotcha. So you're not necessarily trying to hone in on POA putters. It's
no,
not like
I don't think no, not at all. It's totally different surface. I can't even believe that's in there, to be honest. I think it's a surface where if you're a good putter, you're going to run the table.
Nice. All right, good. Let's get into some bets, and then we'll see if we can wrap up with some broadcast bingo with you. The season long bet. Yours truly took it down again last week, although I think it was close. I landed Morikawa and Woodland, and I think that was the best combo. Pat, you had Cantlay and Stevens. I don't know if that might have been pretty good. I don't know.
Well,
I don't
Stevens,
remember what
I think,
guys did.
got him at
Stevens
least
did well.
top 20. Cantlay, it was okay.
And it was Matt's first pick, right?
Yes.
So we're on Pat now, right?
Yeah.
We should be on me.
Pat, you get to start.
Well, I don't think anybody's gone with the favorite yet. I'm going to go with Scotty Scheffler. Let me go ahead and go with Scotty Scheffler. I'll take him.
It's a good week to be number one. So far, with Scotty not being around very much. It's I
don't see any other direction I can go with the first pick. So,
Yeah, I don't either. That makes a lot of sense to me. So moving on to you, Matt.
Is it my pick?
We're all playing for second place now. Yes.
Okay. I'll go with Sam Burns.
I like it a lot.
Scotty's BFF.
Yeah.
All right, Sammy B. So Tony is supposed to be sending in his picks, but he's oh, wait a minute, he's on the way. What do you what do we think about Scotty real quick while we're here? I mean, he looked pretty dialed. So.
Yeah, well, number one in strokes gained approach, right? I think he looked really good for his first week back, and I think he's going to pick up. I'm not betting him this week, but I think he's going to pick up right where he left off.
Yeah. All right, Tony. Scotty and Sam Burns are off the board.
Oh, my first two picks. All right, I'm gonna go with a guy who I almost had last week at Pebble Beach. I'm gonna stick with my boy Sepp. You guys put me on.
Oh.
You guys hit him. I was late to the party with that, so I'm gonna try to bring it back. Let's go with three-peat here. Let's go with Sepp.
Well, you made it easy on me because I was debating between Sepp and Hideki. So I will I'll take Hideki, another stud here at Waste Management. Obviously won just a few weeks ago. So I'll go Hideki for my shorter player. Remember, we're picking one guy shorter than 50 to 1 and one guy longer than 150 to 1. I don't like a lot of options in this longer than 150 to 1 range. This does not feel like a long shot situation here at the Waste Management this year. But I guess if I have to, I got to land on one. I'm tempted to go with my guy that I can't ever quit, but I don't think that's smart. I think I should do something different. I am going to go. I'm believing in Alex Smalley. It's gross, but I'm still buying.
That's
Alex
not that
Smalley.
gross. That's not that gross.
Grrr. If you know, you know. All right, Tony, you're up.
My 150 to 1. I'm going to go with a guy, a little bit of course history here, Adam Shank.
That's a good one. I was looking at him too. All right, Matt, your bomb.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with 200 to 1 KH Lee. Decent. I think he finished second here 1 year in the last 5 years. And then
had a good week.
Good week at the Farmers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Pat, your final pick.
I mean, I gotta do it, DB, because this is where the love began. We met on the driving range at this golf tournament in person.
Sparks were flying. I saw
Sparks were flying, and he's actually been playing well lately.
Malnati?
No.
No.
Everybody's darling at the beginning of last year, and I did call his first win in Mexico. Jake Knapp will be my final player.
The bodyguard,
sweet swinging Jake Knapp.
Nice.
I just think, does Jake have a nickname? Like, how does that guy not have a nickname?
He really should.
I think just Jake the Body would be a good one.
Yeah, Jake the Body.
Body by Jake. Isn't that a show? Body by Jake.
Yeah.
I know that. Does he still have the mullet?
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of mullet-esque.
There's got to be a Joe Dirt, something in there as well.
Yeah. Jake Dierte?
He's too big. He's too put together to be like Joe Dirt, though.
All right, let's get Matt's final bets before we got to let him out of here. He's got to head to baseball practice.
Yes.
Matt, give us some other bets you're eyeing, some top 20s as well.
All right. Well, I'm slowing down on the fire in this week. Last week, I was pretty dialed in when I was doing all that, by full disclosure. But I am going to go. Okay, Sam Burns was my shortest guy at 28 to 1, so I'm taking him. I hate this pick. I hate even rooting for this right now, but I'm going to take Tom Kim at 35 to 1.
Why do you hate it?
How can you watch him play golf?
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's brutal. I mean, it's really tough. Something's got to be done there. Anyways, I know he's not the first guy to play slow, but I'm taking him at 35 to 1. I do think course history matters here. I'm going to go with Nick Taylor at 60 to 1. Nick's still playing really good golf, and why the hell not at 60 to 1? Sam Stevens, 75 to 1. Still going to ride with him. Still playing really good golf. And then I'm kind of torn here between Horschel and Novak. Neither one of them are probably going to win, but I need to take one, and I'm only going to take 5 guys. I think I'm going to roll with Horschel, because I think he's obviously can close if he gets there. So Billy at 80 to 1 for top 20s. I have Billy Novak plus 250, and then KH Lee plus 500. That's all I got.
The bomb.
Love it.
Yeah, there's a number of those names I've been eyeballing.
Yeah, we're very much on the same page this week, Matt.
Okay, love it.
What about, real quick before we let you go, what about some broadcast bingo? If we had to like I thought about it a couple of ways. There's obviously things you see every year at this tournament that are funny. Some of them you're going to see one time, some of them you won't see. Some of them are repeats. You know, I kind of categorized a couple things too as like take a shot every time you see this because you know it's coming and you're just sitting around on a Saturday. But other than that, like what are some waste management bingo items we could put on our card? And if listeners see it, you know, they can let us know.
What about like the guy that's like defying gravity when he's so hammered? You know what I mean? When he's walking and he's so hammered,
bent over.
Like, how is he standing up still?
Yeah,
that could be one.
for sure.
How about a fight?
Oh, a fight would be
that's
good.
a good
fight.
Yeah,
that's a good one on the card. Yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the others you guys said?
I said Sesame Street character in on 16.
Yeah, I was going to say any grown adult man in a costume, like a full costume, committed, like a Big Bird or a Marvel character, something like that. I think a good one we should put on the card for this year that, you know, isn't a take a shot one because it's not likely, but male breasts. I think we could see. I think there's a chance, and we saw them with Higgs and Damon. I don't think we had any male boobs out last year. It was too cold.
You're talking about from the players' male breasts?
Too many layers. Yeah, no. This could be any male breast. I'm not discriminating. This could be any male breast. The crowd or caddy or player. It could be. Okay. It could be. You know, a lot of different people. I think that would be one we should put on there because I think the weather's gonna. You know, people were itching to let them out last year and they couldn't. And they're going to be drunk. So I think that's one. The beer snake. I'd love to see the beer snake make a comeback. You know, they really tried to shut that down in the stands.
I feel like they're going to clamp down on that this year.
Yeah.
Or do they rebel?
Yeah.
I think that's what
I don't think so. You can't control this.
So you don't think we're going to get a shirtless player this year?
I mean, probably not.
Who would you
want if there was, Pat?
Oh man, God, who would I rather? I mean Jake Knapp, probably.
Jake Knapp, come on now.
See, I'd go the other way. I already know Jake Knapp looks ripped. I want to see.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
No, you really
looks like out there.
I think Sepp would be nice. Big unit. Straka has been playing well. Number 1 in the FedEx Cup right now. Like, let him out. Let him dump him out for the people. Siwoo. I mean, I'd love to see Siwoo do it. I thought about this is going to be, you know, last week Jason Day's outfit got a lot of chatter because it was just a warm up outfit.
Yeah.
I think that was Malbin's way of like kind of just that's an appetizer because this is Malbin's week. Because
is he playing this week, Jason?
It's got to be, right?
No, he's not playing this week.
He's not?
No.
No way.
No.
He should be contractually obligated to play.
You know, this was the first week last year that Siwoo brought out the bad birdie stuff.
Bad birdie, yeah. Obviously, Matty E saying sneaky link is got to be on there. You got to put that on the bingo card. Any player or caddy or media member doing any piece of content from that miniature waste management garbage truck display where they can get in the seat. I think Charlie Hoffman did it one year. They get in the seat and do some content from there. I think that's got to be one. I think a good one would be a thong. If we could see a thong, you know, we had the streaker a couple years ago. Again, warmer weather is going to bring it out. You could have
about 2 people coming out of a porta potty together.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah,
that's a great one actually. A Trump costume. I figured that's going to be there. I also thought a medical cart coming to get someone would be a great one. If you spot that on the TV, you're like, oh, and it could be a volunteer, a player, for any reason. It could be you weren't paying attention, you got hit with a ball like that dude yesterday at Pebble Beach, or you could just be hammered and dehydrated and dying.
What about a streaker? Did we say streaker?
You said it.
Because we've had that a few times.
Yeah, I said a guy in a thong like the streaker, but Pat doesn't pay attention.
Sorry, I was not paying attention. I was thinking about things.
If you include social media and the lead up days, any sort of DJ content, the waste management loves to have DJs. They have them on the course. They have them at night. There's always DJs. So if you see a DJ and some oons music, as Pat likes to call it, with his headset, you could take a shot if you want that. Matt Every talking about Davis Riley somehow on Thursday. I put that in.
You know
there.
what if I do get him in the coverage? Because I mean, we're getting everyone in that rolls through 16 in that 2-hour window. So there's a decent chance.
You've got to glaze his swing on the betting feed.
I'll be all over it.
So there'll be a lot of whole bets on 16 then, you think?
So I think it's going to be like, total score in the group. Look, it's a small sample size. Obviously, we're betting on one shot on 16, so it's not like we can do matchups out there or stuff like that. But where I'm looking, I don't know, Pat. So a lot of the times that I've done TV, and I know it gets beat to death. If I see two guys miss a putt from like 12 feet in the same spot and they miss it in the same direction, the whole freaking field's going to miss it over there. Yeah, and I think there is a big advantage just paying attention to stuff like that. I don't know if there's an edge there. We'll see. We haven't done the show yet, but it'll be fun either way.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome, man. We look forward to listening to you, seeing you do your thing, and have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy baseball.
All right, guys. Practice. Yeah, man. See you, boys. See ya.
Matt everybody. Thanks to him for being in. It's going to be really good. Make sure you catch him on the feed there on ESPN Plus. That was good stuff. I think we could put out a list of, maybe we put out a list on X for bingo, and people feel free to add to them. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment on the video, drop in what you think should be on the bingo card or the take a shot every time X happens. Drop that in there. Pat, did you have any more, or are we ready to move on from that?
No, I think I think I'm good. I could come up with some more if we need them though. We need like a true bingo card though, where people can play at home.
Maybe I'll work on that. I don't think I could have it before Thursday, but maybe I could have it by Saturday. I'll work on that.
Well, you'll get more viewers in anyway,
Yeah, that could be fun. That could be a good time. I do think that Matt could take advantage of the whole 16 props by using the prop tool, the prop sniper tool on Bet the Number. You can literally go in there and filter you can look at the hole. You can select how many years you want to evaluate that hole, that golf course, that scorecard. And then you can actually pull in players. So, I mean, if you knew the groups ahead of time, which you will, he could look at every player in the group and how they've done on 16 historically over the last 5 years in terms of, green or regulation, birdie or better, par, bogey or worse, all that stuff, scoring average, fairway hit if it's a par 4, par 5. You can definitely do that on the prop sniper tool on Bet the Number. Lots of new tools on Bet the Number. The matchup tool is my favorite right now. That is what I am using to absolutely cook on SoBet. If you've not taken advantage of that, then you're just missing it. Here it is right here. Let me show it to the people. For example, if you wanted to compare these three guys over the last over the 2025 events so far, starting at the Century, you can pull them on. You can pull them in. You can pull in up to 6 players in the matchup feature on Bet the Number. Compare all of these stats. You can select certain events. You can go back and choose round 1, 2, 3, and 4 if you want to look at that. It's just super easy, and I've used this every single week to go 8-0 on SoBet in matchups. So we appreciate Bet the Number for putting out some new tools for 2025. You need to get in there. Link in the description. Code TJ gets you a nice discount there on Bet the Number, and you can try it for free for 7 days with that code as well. So try it for the waste management. See if you like it. Roll with it for the rest of the golf season. It's going to be well worth it, I promise. All right, Pat, let's get to it. Let's talk some bets, outright bets. I will start. You've got the without Scotty market this week. Mm-hmm. Like when I was looking at this, the board is tough. Like, I don't know if you talked about this in your show, but seeing how good Scotty looked last week and knowing this is a golf course that he has just absolutely been dominant at does make it tough to bet anyone in that with Scotty market outside of maybe a couple people. I mean, I looked at Hideki at 16-1. He was at 18 when I first looked this morning. He's dropped down a little bit. He hasn't played great the last couple of weeks, but I don't think that matters. Hideki loves this place too. So I think Hideki at 16, if you want the shorter number, that's my favorite guy. I'm tempted by Sam Burns a little bit, but I think I'd rather have Hideki. And then really there's one other guy that I would bet in the with or without Scotty market. And that's Sepp again. I mean, he's 45-1 on FanDuel. He continued to stripe it with the irons last week at Pebble. I just think we keep, like right now, we keep riding hot Sepp Straka. He is a closer. He's a Ryder Cupper. We've talked about this already. He's like the last guy on the board, the longest number on the board that I really do trust, even though he crapped down his leg yesterday, that I do trust to like hang in there and possibly, take down or outlast Scotty at the Waste Management at the with Scotty number of 45-1. Are there any guys in that range, or, are you looking at that without Scotty market? What do you think?
No, I mean, I don't have that market in front of me, but I think any of these guys I'm going to talk about that are not Scotty, I mean, you could compare the number there and look at it, but I'm with Matt a lot. I like Sam Burns at 28-1. He was actually at 30-1 when I was looking at it this morning on the First Look show in the Nut Hut, and I already fired on it then. So I do like Sam Burns a lot this week. A guy that has been playing well. Has good history the last 2 years. Kind of interested to see, like, you're talking about last year and Nick Taylor winning at 21 under. So I'm trying not to put too much emphasis on like how a guy did last year, because I do think there was some differences between that year versus years before. Yeah. But Sam Burns was consistent in both. He was consistent in 2023 where he was 6th behind Scotty, and then he was T3 in 2024 last year. So, different conditions, but played well. So I do think Sam Burns makes a lot of sense at that number. I do like Tom Kim also. I think 35-1. He's a guy we've seen. We saw him finish in the top 10 last week, had a top 20 here last year. Again, try not to put too much emphasis on that, but I do like Tom Kim. And so up top, those are really my two favorites, because I'm with you on Sepp. Now, the one that I'm kind of trying to decide on that maybe you can help me with, DB. Although first, what happened to your headset? Why do you have those things in? Why do you have the AirPods? Those that you had this in?
I thought I'd mix it up. I don't know. I was like, it's kind of warm up here where I'm recording in my little podcast spot, and I was like, you know what? I just don't feel like putting those things over my ears, so I just went with the old AirPods.
Yeah, your ears were sensitive today.
It's just hot, and those things, I feel like they just made me hotter.
Yeah.
This may be a new thing.
Anyway, what do we think about Kitayama? Because I feel like I can never get this guy right, but
I know, because he's rarely right. That's why. That's the answer.
Yeah, but he's played well here, and he's number 2 in the BTN model, which is what has me. That's where it's trickling up. Is that he's number 2 in the BTN model, and he's got a decent history here.
Yeah, he does. I get it. He's number 10 in my model. I publish mine. People can go check that out. It's a public model on Bet the Number as well. He's 10 in mine, and I looked at him. This is one of those weeks where I think you just have to go, can he beat Scotty Scheffler? I don't think he can. No, he's won one time. Hasn't he won one time?
I think he's won one. I mean, he's won in a pretty good field.
It was, but it was a couple years ago, right? Yeah. It was a while ago. I'm out. But I think this week has been the easiest week for me to pick outright winners. Like, this is the one week where I literally have 5 guys, and I know exactly who the 5 are, and I'm done. And I don't know that they'll change. I really don't know that they'll change. But Kitayama's not one of them.
Yeah, and he's just one I'm thinking about, but I'm not wanting to fire in on it, and I do think you're right on Sepp. I think you just kind of have to continue to go with that on Sepp. And also,
there's no reason to stop. There's zero reason to stop.
No, there's not. There's not. I think there's a couple other ones that you shouldn't stop on. One is Nick Taylor, who obviously loves this place. I'm seeing 60-1, but I think you might be able to get a little better than that. But I'm seeing
Taylor would be like the 6th or 7th guy in for me. I get it. Yeah. I totally get it.
65-1 on FanDuel.
One of the last ones off the list for me. He's 40-1 in the without Scotty market, if you're interested in that.
Okay. And then 2 others that I really like. I'm going to continue to go with Sam Stevens, just like Matt talked about. Maybe it's just a fear that I'm going to miss out when he does win, but the guy is just playing incredible. T28 here last year. He's top 40 in the BTN model. Had the 2nd at the Farmers, T17 last week. Played really well. I mean, really, you think he has a good weekend. He could have been right up there with a chance to not win, but finish in that top 5. And then I'm really liking Andrew Novak. He's one I fired in on the early show. I got him at 75-1. I think I saw maybe he was 80-1 on FanDuel. But Novak is another one that I really like this week. I mean, well, if you look at right now, he's
80 on
he's
DK,
right.
huh?
I'm seeing 90-1 and 100-1 on FanDuel. Anyway, if you get that, then get it, because I like Novak a lot this week. And you just look at what he's done: a 3rd place at the Farmers, 13th at Pebble Beach. He did finish top 10 here last year, again in those bad conditions. I think he makes a lot of sense for this week.
I mean, of the names you've mentioned, the only one I don't like and I didn't think about is Kitayama. I mean, I think Stevens is the only thing that worries me about Stevens is just like, I think this is his 5th event in a row. I know he's young.
He has been playing a lot.
5th event in a row. He's made the cut every time. He's been playing a lot. I can see it wearing him out a little bit. This week can be kind of a tiring week in general with all the crap that's going on. But I probably prefer him for a placement bet. But I Novak's hot. You're right. I mean, he's riding hot form. He's been in contention late before, not very often, but I think it was recently in the last year or so. So, we'll see. But I saw him at 100-1 on FanDuel or 60-1 without Scotty. MGM was the market. Now we're recording this on a Monday afternoon, but MGM was the only market I saw that had the without Scotty market as of now. I'm sure the others will follow suit. But
I just checked on DK and they did not have it. So
okay. So, for me, it's Sepp. Then it goes to, and I'm not being fair to both. Maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, but the number 1 player in my model is Mav McNeely, and a lot of that is because of the ball striking has been absolutely tremendous over the last few weeks for him, and the putters kind of failed him, which has not been his. What's typically, what he typically does. So obviously you're getting that first win at the RSM Classic in the fall, came out with a T8 at the Century. Hasn't really done much since then, but he's checking a lot of boxes for me. I prefer him in the without Scotty market. He's 45-1 in that spot. And then 2 guys at 50-1 in the without Scotty market are JT Poston and Tom Hoge. I mean, I'll start with Hoge. Obviously Hoge's continued to play really well. Like, what do we do other than keep riding Hoge for him when he's striping it with his irons like he always is? He's had some decent finishes here, never really come close, but he's had some decent finishes. I don't feel great about it. Like, I feel better about Poston if he's on closing the door and winning, but I just think it's tough to ignore how well, Tom Hoge's playing at the moment. And then for Poston, it's not like he's got a tremendous record here either, but I do think like last year, I think he got boned by the wave. And I do think some of this turns into, like Matt said, if you're a really good putter on these surfaces, which obviously JT is, and you can afford to spray it off the tee a little bit, which JT can afford to do, or JT does. I think this could be kind of a good get right spot for him with the flat stick. He's not putted well to begin the year, but West Coast and I don't know, POA the last week or so for him. I'm sure he doesn't love POA. It's weird to see him not putting well, but I think it could be a get right spot. And I just think when he's on, he could close the door and run with guys like Scotty and Hideki up top.
Yeah, I agree.
The last one is another one that kind of falls in line similarly to JT Poston. It's just a guy that I trust to close the door because he's got that dog in him when he's in contention. And Matt mentioned him, and that's Billy Ho. Billy Ho is 90-1 or 45-1 without Scotty, coming off the T9 and the T21 the last 2 weeks. He loves this place. Like, Billy embraces the vibe at Waste Management. It's a little, we saw what he did at TGL a week ago or whatever it was when he came out in the Dirty Birds chain and dancing, doing I don't know, that was very awkward, but he embraces the vibe. And I like that. I like a guy he's kind of a showman, and I think he likes to show off and do his thing in front of the crowds, and I think he'll feed off of it, and he's playing well. So he's not the longest hitter on tour. He's not going to ball strike it to death, but I think he could be in contention. I think he could close the door as well. So that's really it for me. The rest of the guys that I like, a lot of them you talked about, more top 20s for me. So as we look into the top 20s, I have 2 locks. One is Sepp Straka at plus 150. But the next one we've not talked about yet, but he's a lock. I don't trust him to win yet here in this field on this stage with Scotty, with Hideki, with Justin Thomas playing well up at the top. But Luke Clanton at plus 220, still looking to get those points, whatever remaining points he has to have to get full status, to get his tour card. I think this is a great opportunity for him. He's a ball striker. He's a really strong putter. I think, like I said, I think the stage is big and I think the field is tough for him to get a win, but plus 220 for a top 20, including ties for Clanton, I like a lot considering how well he's playing. In terms of my bomb at 4-1, I'm gonna roll with Hayden Springer at plus 450. Not a guy that I usually bet, but finished 7th in my bet the number model. A lot of that's due to some fall performance, but also played really well at the Farmers to start his year, shooting 6 under, gaining strokes, ball striking, tee to green. Nice start to the year for Hayden Springer. He hits it a long way. Long irons will pay off well for him here, so I'll go Hayden Springer at plus 450. I don't like a lot of the long shot, like really low. I don't love it here. I think this is going to be kind of a cream come to the top situation.
Okay. Well, I'll start with my 2 locks. I'm going to go with Tom Kim at plus 140. I like that a lot for a top 20. And then I'm trusting the kid, the other twin, in Rasmus Højgaard at plus 210. I like this kid a lot. I think he has a lot of game. Showed up well, almost finished in the top 20 last week at Pebble Beach, had a T22. I think he's a stud. And I think even though it's going to be his first time playing here, that he can play this course well. You got perfect conditions. So I do like that about it. So I think I'm going to go with Højgaard there. I think we're getting a little bit of value on him at plus 210. And then my bomb is going to be, it's going to be my guy, Jake Knapp at plus 550. Guy that's been playing, much better lately. We saw him up on the leaderboard a little bit last week at Pebble. The swing looks like it's there. It's back to where it kind of was leading into his win last year. He went through a few struggles, but I think he's back. So I like plus 550 for Knapp on the top 20.
Yeah, Knapp was one I looked at too. Left him for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You're so nice.
What about pivots? We've talked about some guys we think will be chalky. I'm sure Scotty, and I think Scotty's worth the chalk. In terms of DFS, we got a couple of emails over the last couple of weeks, couple DMs about DFS conversation on the show. And basically, here's the answer. Pat and I don't love DFS like we used to. It's a lot harder than it used to be. When we started 10 years ago, it was a hell of a lot easier. Everybody's a lot more smart, a lot more smarter, a lot more optimizers and AI models and all that stuff, helping you do your thing on the DFS streets. And so it's tough, number one. And, we've just, as the betting stuff has become more prominent, we enjoy that side of it more than we do DFS. And we find ourselves allocating more units to the betting world than we do the DFS world, although we're still playing DFS, but it's just not as much. And it's a lot of fun to win together. It's a lot of fun when you're making picks and you're all winning together, whether you're in the Discord or you're just a listener or you're in the SoBet, whatever. We can all win together in the betting market. It's tough to win together in the DFS streets. And, whether they like to admit it or not a lot of DFS touts are actually doing what they tell you they're doing, or they wouldn't be making money if they are. That's why we're kind of just dipping our toes in the DFS waters every week and not doing a full show dedicated to it. But ultimately, pivots and low-owned guys are the most important. You can figure out who the chalk is quite easily. And if you want more DFS conversation, it obviously happens in the Discord every Wednesday night with a live chat. And there's plenty of people in the Discord talking DFS too. And we still have our ownership projections that get aggregated from 5 or 6 different sites, where we aggregate the ownership projections and give you our best take on what those look like. All of that's in the Discord. So there's plenty of DFS content in the Discord if you want it, just not as much here on the show. Pat, would you add anything to that?
I mean, I would just say that, you could also, what we're talking about mainly too on a betting front, we've already talked at least a combined maybe 15 names. I don't, maybe not that many, or maybe it is, maybe more. But you can translate that to DFS also. So it's not like if you can't, make a connection, one place to the other. So, but I do think, like you said, it's important to know who we think the pivots are, who we think the, low owned guys are.
That's a good point. Yep. So speaking of pivots, let's just talk some pivots here. I think I'm a little intrigued by Akshay. And it's kind of a gut call, I think. I think he was really popular here last year, and he sucked. And I don't know if it was the wave that caught him, but missed the cut. He's only played twice this year, and it's just been kind of mid. It hasn't been terrible. It's just been very mid. But this feels like a really good spot for Akshay. You think he's young. He likes to have a good time. This seems like a spot he would embrace. So for me, Akshay, he's a DFS darling. He usually gets some level of ownership. He's not going to be completely ignored. But this might be a spot early in the season if you like Akshay and you're bullish on him overall. It might be a good spot to jump on him before a lot of other people do, because I don't know that he's going to get a lot of discussion.
I would agree on Akshay, and like you said, he's been playing better. I mean, with the T22 last week, I think he could be a very good pivot. I think the guy you mentioned at the end of the betting portion, JT Poston, could be a good pivot.
Yep,
at
I looked
8,000.
at that one too.
Because I think Siwoo's going to be a little bit chalky. We haven't really talked about him, but he does have a fantastic record here, coming off of a good week last week. I think he's going to be a little bit chalky. So you got two guys above and below him that are going to be good. And I think Nick Taylor in this 8K range is going to be chalky too. So I think Akshay and Poston are probably your two best pivots that I would feel good about. Because I think Wyndham Clark's going to be low owned, but I don't feel good about it. Jordan Spieth's going to be low owned, but I don't feel good about it.
No, same. Do you think? What's your take on? Because he finished T17 last week, I guess, and that was good. His first event of 2025. But the ever popular Minwoo Lee, I would like to play him at this course if he's not ridiculous in terms of ownership. I would. Normally, I'm full on ignore Minwoo, but I will be peaking at the ownership in the Discord on Wednesday night.
And I feel like you should, because I don't think I would bet him outright whatsoever. But I do think he is worth a look. He's worth a peek for DFS. And I think this is a place for him. Like he talks about he wants to cook and do all that. Like he likes the crowd. Kind of do, and that could be on the bingo card too. Are there going to be chefs? Chef's hat on a hole.
That's a good one.
So which will probably happen. But I think this is a place for him. And he didn't have a great. I don't know what his wave was last year, what it looked like. He did make the cut, but he was literally like dead last. So I think that it could be a good year for him on that, and it's worth a look in DFS.
Another one is at 7,500, and he's going to be right there around Billy Horschel, Novak, who's getting some love. Charlie Hoffman, who's been playing well, and he's a waste management guy. Lee Hodge has been playing really well down there. But it may be time to start saying, hey, is this guy kind of back? Because he seemingly lost it last year. In the fall was bad, but he started off the year not terrible. Not great, but not terrible. And that's Keith Mitchell at 7,500. I mean, you talk about a guy who hits it a long way, has had a decent track record around here, plays it frequently, enjoys it. I think embraces it. T17 last year, T10 in 2022, T16 in 2020, and coming off 3 straight, top 30, top 35 finishes to start his year. And the ball striking looks better because that had kind of been gone. It used to be like you could count on Mitchell to check all the boxes, tee to green, and his putting was just terrible. And then he lost his ball striking. But now, he's bombing it off the tee again. He's hitting more fairways. And now the irons look to be at least heating up a little bit. I think Mitchell is another one that I would say would be an interesting pivot.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think he's certainly one that you could look at in this range. I think I had kind of looked a little bit at, especially coming off a good week at Lucas Glover. It's 7,400. I don't think he's going to be chalky because I don't think he ever is. I think he's one that you could look at, and I'm kind of thinking Seamus Power.
Oh, I love Seamus.
Kind of thinking Seamus Power. He's not. I don't think he's going to be chalky. He's had a good finish last week. His year last year at this tournament wasn't great, but again, the weather and everything. But he was a top 20 guy in 2023 here. I think Seamus could be one to look at too as a potential low-end pivot.
Right near Seamus, I mean, a guy who bombs it, a guy who doesn't hit a lot of fairways, and that screws him up, but he could afford to miss it a little bit out here. A guy who can get really hot with his irons. It can also be really terrible. Same thing with his putter, but he's a winner at Nick Dunlap at 7,000.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I think he's interesting.
Here's another one, because I haven't really trusted this yet, and I think you talked about him last week, and he ended up having a decent finish. But I think I always used to look at Gary Woodland when it came to par 5 scoring and that kind of stuff. Like, I think I haven't seen, like, the history here recently is not good at all, but Gary Woodland has not been the same player really until this year that he was, or at least somewhat of the same player. I think Gary Woodland could be worth a look too. I don't want to bet him. I don't like any, but I think in DFS that could be interesting. Right there at 7,100 too.
Yeah, I mean, he did win here in 2018.
Yeah,
I'm
just saying the last like 4 or 5 years have not been good at all.
No,
but cuts out of the last 5.
I agree with you. I think he has seemingly kind of turned a corner here, and he's off to a really good start this year, and he had a good fall. So I think Woodland is still a good value at the price of 7,100. I agree. I think that's probably it. I mean, down in the 6K, I guess Smalley, who I already mentioned, Springer, who I already mentioned, is a top 20 bet. I like him. Somebody drafted Shank. I think it was Tony drafted Shank in the season long. I don't mind Shank here either. So those are a couple 6K names. Anybody else in the 6K you like? Oh, Victor Perez. I do love. I love Victor.
Yeah,
Perez,
I was leaving him for you. I figured you'd have to talk about him. I think again, I'm with you on Smalley this week, and I think Jake Knapp too at 6,800. But I think he might be. I don't think he'll be chalky. So for a 6K player. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Let's wrap it up. Talk a little bit of Super Bowl, some Super Bowl props. We do this every single year. We've had some years where we've hit them. We've been really nice. We've had some years where they haven't been so good. Definitely, we'll be looking to cook up some sort of waste management plus Super Bowl parlay props, whatever. We will have plenty of those going around the Discord. Probably post them on SoBet, maybe on X as well, Instagram, all the above. But let's talk about our early leans as of now for the Super Bowl. Some fun bets, maybe what you think is going to happen. First of all, Pat, are you like most of America? Are you pulling for the Philly Dogs?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
Same. Same.
I did not want to see the Chiefs win their 3rd in a row, and I'm just tired of it. But it's probably going to happen. So what's your prediction? Like, what do you actually think is going to happen? Do you really think the Chiefs are going to win? I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't win, but I actually do think the Eagles have a very good chance, and a much better chance than that, because they played them 2 years ago in the Super Bowl and lost, and because this is their 2nd in 3 years. I think they've got the defense to do it, with all those dogs that they have on the defense that are very, very good and fast, and I think that the Eagles can win this game, and. So I don't know. Yeah, I think the Eagles can win this game.
I think the Eagles not just can. I think they will. I think they will win this game. They lost them by 3 points 2 years ago, but I think Saquon has just been. I think he's the biggest difference maker. Having Saquon has just unlocked a lot for that team. They're not as dependent on Jalen Hurts making something happen with his arm or his legs. And I mean, obviously the Chiefs front defensive line and especially the defensive line is really good. They're very, very good. Chris Jones and that gang can bottle up a running back, but I don't think you can bottle up Saquon Barkley. You can. I don't think he's going to run for 200 yards, but I think that's going to be hard to do. And I think that makes the difference. And I think the Chiefs have been playing with fire for far too long. Too many close games, too many close calls, too many last-minute heroics, fourth quarter drives, ref BS. I'm over it, and I think it stops Sunday night, and I think the Eagles get it done. So I'm taking the Eagles plus 1.5 to start off. Give me that at minus 110. I'll give you some Eagles props that I like. I like Jalen Hurts. I know I just talked about Saquon, but I'm looking at the number here. I'm looking at the value. I like Jalen Hurts to have two TDs or more at plus 550. The anytime touchdown number is too short. We got to have some fun with this. I believe in 2 TDs. Saquon might get him down to the 1 or the 2. They do the Philly tush push and he's in. Maybe he runs one in on his own from outside of that, 3 or 4 yard mark. And I believe in the 2 TDs. So I'm going there. I also I see Philly running crazy on these boys. There is a Taylor Swift special that DraftKings does, the Taylor Swift specials. They did this I think last year for the Chiefs too. And the Swiftie special here is named after the song Style. And it's Saquon Barkley to score a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown at 10-1. I just have to believe Saquon is getting the ball as much as they can possibly afford to feed it to him. And I think he could get in on the ground and through the air. And on the air, maybe the best chance to get him in with that front 4-5 that the Chiefs have on the line. So I'm buying Jalen Hurts scoring. I'm buying Saquon running up the score. I'm not as much a believer in AJ Brown and Devonta Smith doing a bunch of action here because I just think the Eagles want to control the ball, control the time of possession, keep it out of Patrick Mahomes' hands, put together some long, slow, annoying, grinding drives with Saquon and Jalen, and then Saquon busts one, gets him to the goal line, scores one. Jalen runs it in on the tush push. That's what I think's happening.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll start with the as far as the game's concerned, I'm not going to touch the spread here, but maybe you look at some in. I think you might have.
You're not going to touch the spread. You think Philly's going to win? You don't want to take them plus money?
No,
plus 1.5, not plus money. Plus
I'm
one.
Not going to do it. I'm not going to touch that. And plus, you already talked about it. So I'm going with the total here. I'm going with the over 48.5, which is minus money. But I do think this game is going to be, even though the Eagles defense is good and Kansas City has a pretty good defense too, I think there's going to be some scoring. It's just, I do feel like the Eagles are going to be able to stop them in the key moments that they need to do it. So I could see like a 31-28 type game. So I do think that the over hits in this game. So that'll be my game prop or play. I like this prop a lot. I think, DB, that the Chiefs are going to go to a guy who's a veteran, looking for his first Super Bowl, playing in his first Super Bowl, and we haven't seen him a whole lot, and he is healthy. And I like the plus money at plus 250 for DeAndre Hopkins to have over 25 receiving yards. I think you're going to see DeAndre get involved in this game. It's hard to really tell with what receiver they're going to use. I mean, obviously Xavier Worthy's always part of the game. You're seeing some Juju Smith-Schuster, but I think they might switch some of those balls that Juju's getting over to DeAndre in this game. And so I like the plus 250 number there on DeAndre Hopkins receiving yards.
Interesting. Hopkins. Yeah. So let's talk chief receivers because I have a belief there too. I mean, I think 25 yards. Was it 25 yards?
Yeah, that's what I've got over on
GK. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I didn't even see it, honestly. Yeah, you don't even think about DeAndre Hopkins on the Chiefs, but
no, but he's there and he's still a good receiver.
I think that prop could hit, and my props could hit because I am very much bullish on Xavier Worthy's performance in this game. So I have two props for him. One is his anytime touchdown number at plus 165, and I also have him down for most receiving yards out of both teams at plus 360. So I think he ends up with more than AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, anybody else on the Chiefs. I think Xavier. Actually, I think that one of the biggest threats could be maybe Saquon, because he could bust one and, some dump off or something, take it to the house. But I think the Chiefs are going to have to involve Xavier Worthy in this game. And I think he's the best option. So I'm going in on Xavier Worthy. But I like the Hopkins call.
Yeah, I think that one could hit. Couple anytime touchdowns. I feel like Kelsey, this just feels like a trap, but I don't know. Plus 135 on Kelsey as an anytime touchdown scorer. They're going to force it any way they can, and you're getting plus money. I do think Dallas Goedert, who we've seen come along a lot during the playoffs, played well in the NFC title game, plus 310 as an anytime touchdown scorer. I think both tight ends can score in this game. And then the rest of my props.
Let me talk about tight end real quick. I was like, you know what? What if like, because I get it. Like, it feels like this thing is going to be force fed to Travis Kelce's likely, or the rumor is he could be retiring after this. Taylor Swift again, blah, 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 blah. But what if like Andy Reid and gang sits Travis down and Mahomes looks at him and he's like,
Travis, me and Coach have been talking, and we got a different idea about the game,
and
you're gonna throw it to Noah Gray.
Yes. Like, what if they're like, this is your game where you're gonna lay down your life as the veteran. You're gonna selflessly pass the torch, lay down your life. Listen, we're gonna get it to you if you're open. But if they hone in on you, if they zero in on you, and we're going to cook up some plays where you and Noah are out there at the same time. You're going to be the diversion. We're going to hit Noah. I started looking at Noah's like anytime touchdown number because I can see that happening too.
Yeah. I mean, I just, and maybe, like I said, again, it does look a lot like too juicy to have plus money on Kelsey as a touchdown. But I do think I am probably more confident, though, in the Goddard one at plus 310. The other ones I have are traditional. Well, one of them I haven't seen before that I like, and then the other one you and I could probably go back and forth. Those are these are just novelty props. I think we always talk about the Gatorade color, so I'll get to that in a second. But one I have not seen, DB, is will there be a flea flicker in the game?
I saw
and
that. Yeah.
It's at plus 230 as a yes. I feel like we might see it. DB. I mean, Saquon, I feel like he could, you got a guy like Saquon who would do that because he's such a focal point of their offense. I could see it happening more on the Eagles side, but the Chiefs, they got things up there.
They run some
crazy stuff. So I think plus 230 on that. And finally, my last one is I got to go with, I'm going to talk about the Gatorade color, and I want a long shot plus 450 for blue. I'm going with blue on the Gatorade color. Like the shirts that I like, the polos that I like, I'm going with blue.
I didn't have any conviction on the Gatorade color. I left it off. I have one more prop, and it's just kind of a goofy prop, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's a really stupid bet. It's minus 115, which is terrible. But it's just like a fun one to start the night rather than first touchdown score. The under 15.5 first touchdown jersey number. Because I mean, like, that means Mahomes could run it in. That means Jalen. That means Devonta. That means A.J. Brown. That means, I think, Xavier Worthy. That means Pacheco. That means, like, really Saquon, Kelsey, Goddard. Those guys kill me. Juju could catch one and be weird. So I went with the under. First touchdown scores jersey has to be 15.5. Has to be 15 or lower.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
I like it. Yeah. I like it.
All right. Well, I think that about does it. It's going to be a good week. Waste Management Phoenix Open is a great week. Then you got the Super Bowl. We'll see you in the Discord. Hope you have a great week. May your screens be green and bend over your bookie. See ya. Out. Tour Junkies featuring David Barnett is not an affiliate of CWM LLC. Opinions expressed by the host or guests do not reflect those of CWM LLC. CWM LLC does not endorse gambling or the entities promoted by the Tour Junkies podcast. David is a non-registered representative of CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.